After going through this video, you will be able to explain JSX, create React elements using JSX. Hi, welcome back. Before we get into the details of this topic, I have one interesting riddle for you. Suppose you want to go from home to your friend's home. One way is to walk to your friend's home by crossing the park, and another way is to wait for an auto and then take it, which will take a longer route. Now, which way will you choose to reach your friend's home? Obviously, the first way, that is by walking, as it is the shortest route. Now, in the last video, we saw that something that could have been done by writing a few lines of HTML, we wrote long React codes. Well, this sounds contradictory. If we prefer shortcut ways or ways that would take lesser time and effort, then why would we write longer code? This sounds confusing. Just to create a simple HTML element that can be done using line of code, we are writing multiple lines of code using React. Does this sound logical? No, right? So, what is the purpose of studying React at all then? Well, don't worry. The basics that we learned so far about React was to get you familiar with it. React uses a friendlier syntax to create HTML elements using something called JSX. JSX is an extension to the JavaScript language that is used with React to create element, and it resembles writing HTML. Let's see how it is used. So, this was our React code which we used in the previous topic to create a heading element. And using JSX, we can write the same code like this. We can see how we have done away with the create element, which was making things unnecessarily complicated. But remember, this is JSX and not an HTML code or a valid JS code. As we will no longer be using this JS code, we will comment it out. Similarly, for the paragraph element, we can write the JSX code like this. You can see how simple things have become using JSX. There is absolutely no need to write lengthy codes. In fact, using JSX, we can define the complete parent box element. Here, we have defined a variable box for the entire div element which contains a code that looks similar to normal HTML that we use. We start with the div element that contains h1 and paragraph HTML elements. Note that we have added parentheses here. These are not mandatory, however, they provide good readability. So it is a good practice to add parentheses whenever we have more than one line of JSX code. As we have written the parent box element JSX code, we can either comment out or delete the h1 and paragraph JSX code because it will be redundant. Let's save our code and check the output. Well, React fails to create the HTML elements. Let's check the error using the inspect element. Can you guess why we got a syntax error while running the JSX code? As discussed earlier in this video, JSX is not a valid JS syntax, which is the reason the browser is unable to interpret what we have written and is giving a syntax error in return. So, what can we do to make our browser understand JSX? To do this, we have to first convert our JSX into JS, which then our browser can understand, that is, into react.createElement function. Don't worry, we are not going to do it manually. We have the Babel compiler which will do this for us. And interestingly, the Babel compiler is available in the form of a JS file over the internet. So in our HTML file, below the React libraries, we will add the Babel compiler inside the script tags. Always ensure that the custom JavaScript file will be added at the end. Now, coming to the custom JavaScript file where we need to make an important change. As we are dealing with a JSX file, so we need to tell our browser that also. We will change the type text/JavaScript to text/Babel so that the browser understands that it needs to change the JSX file to JS file using the Babel compiler. There is a small correction in the app.js code. We don't need to add the semicolon here and here, as they will be printed as such in the output. So let me remove them. Let us again save this code and check the output. Yes, we get the desired output. Now, if we look at the code using the inspect element, we can see that the JSX code has been successfully able to add the HTML elements. Note that if we ever want to see our JSX code will convert to a JS code, we can use an online Babel compiler. We need to type babeljs.io/repl in the address bar. Why don't you give it a try yourself and see how this online converter works? As a starting point, you can download and copy the code even below the video and observe the output. With this, we have come to the end of this video. We will continue to learn more about JSX in the next video.